Hello there, Cryptowisers. A long time no see. It's your old friend Milton here. I am back with a new video for you guys. Hopefully we'll be more consistent with the videos moving forward. It has been a crazy time. So I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do regular videos for you guys. But thanks to Marv, he's been keeping up his NFT videos. So hopefully you've been checking those out. Today, I thought it was time for a Polkadot update. A lot has happened in Polkadot. You guys know I love Polkadot. And I think this is going to be a huge year in Polkadot. Because yes, I have to admit, Polkadot has been lagging behind, obviously. We've seen other ecosystems pump, Solana, Avalanche, Phantom. But what about Polkadot? Well, I think Polkadot is better than any of them. I have no doubt that it will pop huge. It's just a matter of time of when. For me, I'd rather be in early than late, and so I just keep accumulating not only Polkadot, but all the great projects launching on Polkadot. One of those projects is Polkadex. This is a project we've been following for a long time, and in today's video, I got a special interview for you with the Polkadex Executive Director, Mr. Vivek Prasannan. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about the fact that they are launching their Crowdloan. It is time for PDEX to go after a Parachain. So I got all your questions answered about PDEX and their Parachain auction, their Crowdloan. So stay tuned for that. But before we go into that, let's just take a peek at what's been going on in Polkadot. All right, obviously with Polkadot, the big news is Parachains, because Polkadot is a big relay chain. It offers decentralization and security for all of these Parachains, which are their own layer ones. But the biggest thing about Polkadot, one of the reasons I believe in it so much, is it is the only network that is truly interoperable, which means eventually all these parachains will be able to talk to each other, and they'll be able to talk to the ones on Kusama, and there will be bridges to all other networks. But all the parachains being able to talk to each other, interact seamlessly, we have not gotten to that stage yet. Once we are there, then I think that is really when the Polkadot ecosystem is going to take off. But we've been going through these parachain auctions. And the last time I spoke with you guys, we were basically on a daily basis checking in, seeing who was winning these parachains. And we had the first 5 of them. We had Akala, Moonbeam, A-Star, Parallel, and Clover win the first 5. Out of that batch, right now it seems like Moonbeam is the only one to actually deploy, which is huge because they are the EVM compatible parachain, means anyone that has built a dApp on Solidity for Ethereum can just easily move it over, basically one click kind of thing. So we are going to see a ton of dApps launch on Moonbeam in the next couple of weeks. All sorts of articles out there on it, but as you can see here, Ethereum compatible smart contract parachain Moonbeam is live on Polkadot. In the following weeks, a variety of infrastructure projects, including bridges, multi-sig support, the graph, Chainlink oracles, and more are going to go live on Moonbeam. So there's going to be a ton of dApps that you recognize from Ethereum launching on Moonbeam. There's going to be a whole bunch of new ones. Some dApps have already launched, I believe, some of the smaller ones or newer ones. Now, in terms of price, okay, this is what I'm talking about again. We got to talk about this. The crowd loans for these auctions. How did Moonbeam get that parachain? Well, people lent them Polkadot and got rewarded for it in their token. In this case, this Glimmer token. Okay, and the Glimmer token is out there now on the market. And as we can see, it has dumped big time since its launch. And this is what I expect with a lot of these Polkadot projects. We don't know the price of these tokens. It's all price discovery. And usually that means a huge pump and then a huge dump. So I'm not buying any of these ones that are just launching. I'm waiting on Glimmer because I did not enter the crowd loan here, so I did not get any rewards in Moonbeam. If you did, you did pretty well, especially if you sold up around here. But I'm still waiting. Eventually, I'm going to buy in to Glimmer. I know that there's a bunch of unlocks, private sale unlocks for Glimmer. I'll probably wait for that first one, but I'm going to be using the network. So I'm going to need some Glimmer for gas and all that kind of stuff. So eventually I will jump in the way that I did with Moon River, which is the Kusama Canary network to Moonbeam. So they are both up and running, but Moonbeam is the first parachain on Polkadot. So we've seen a bunch on Kusama that are out there running, working. And the biggest one was Moon River. Okay, so that canary network to Moonbeam, which we just talked about. So this is on Kusama. And this is kind of what I was afraid was going to happen. And it does seem to be happening, where the launch of Moonbeam is affecting the price over on Moonriver, and all the dApps on Moonriver, they're all down big. And I invested, not a ton in there, but I've definitely been investing in Moonriver. And I was really scared of this. And it looks like there has been a price effect. So hard to know because the whole market is down, but Moonriver down at 126. And since the launch of Moonbeam, which is about a week ago, we can see that it's just kind of gone down and down and down. Now, I don't know what the final outcome is going to be here. I still believe in Moonriver and Moonbeam being able to coexist. I think the tokenomics for Moonriver are much better than for the Moonbeam Glimmer token, but more of the bigger dApps are going to just launch on Moonbeam. All that said, long term, I'm bullish on both of them, and I'm super bullish on the whole Polkadot ecosystem, which is down huge this week. Okay, if we look here, Polkadot is down. It's down under 25. Kusama's at 250. Talked about Moonriver. Energy Web token, which announced they're going to have a big presence on Polkadot. They're down big right now. Moonbeam Glimmer down huge. Kilt, which I love, is down. So a lot of this stuff is down right now. But the project we're going to talk about today and be talking to Vivek about is Polkadex, and they're actually up big this week. So good for them. Their price has been holding strong. They're up over $12, which is down from its all-time highs. Obviously, everything is, but it's had strength here in the last month or so when other coins have not. So good for them. And as I said, I have an interview that I'm going to be playing with their executive director, Vivek Prasannan, in a couple of minutes, because they have just launched their Crowdloan. They're going after a Parachain. So now is the very first time, if you want to get some PDEX without buying it, you can lend them some Polkadot and get PDEX rewards that way. So we'll talk through all of that. But before we do, I want to have a look at what's going on exactly right now. So right now we're in the batch 2 of these Crowdloans. So this is where Polkadex is going to be. We already saw Affinity win one, Composable win one, and then we have all these other guys here fighting for a spot. So this is, PDEX is not up here yet, but they will be very soon, because as you will see in my interview with Vivek, I had assumed actually that they were going to go for Kusama Parachain first, but they're not. They're skipping over that. They're going straight to Polkadot. But speaking of Kusama, we've seen a ton of great developments on Kusama. They're already in their 5th batch, and I just want to give a shout out to our friends at Integrity Network. So Integrity, as you know, if you follow the channel, it is a project I'm huge on in the long term. Okay, it's a privacy, data protection technology that can help pretty much any business out there, and they're doing business to business mostly. So shout out to them. They got their Parachain finally. It definitely was a curvy road to get there. We thought they'd get theirs weeks ago, but they finally got it, which I'm super stoked about, because I just want this project to go. I want people to see it in action, so they can understand why I'm so excited about it. So they are the latest on Kusama, but Kusama we've seen, that's batch 5. So they've already been 4 batches of 5 projects get in there. So we're already into the 20th and beyond Parachain for Kusama. Everything seems to be working great. Now we're starting to see this on DOT. And I'm telling you, 6 months from now, this is one of those cases where we say slowly then suddenly. Polkadot is, right now, it's the slower of the networks, of the top networks in terms of price action, but it's going to have its day. I am totally sure of that. All right, so let's get into my interview with Vivek. As I said, we're talking here about the Polkadex Crowdloan. So this is your way that you can support Polkadex. If you are someone who owns PDEX already, you want to support their Crowdloan at the same time, because you want them to get their Parachain, and we talk about this with Vivek in the interview, so they can really fulfill their potential as a project. And if you're new to PDEX, Polkadex, and you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the project, make sure you go back and check out our Cryptowise chats with Vivek, because we go through the whole project in this video. Not only do we have the Cryptowise chats, I've done past videos on Polkadex as well. So make sure you check those out. And while you're at it, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. All right, guys. Without further ado, let's jump into my conversation about the PDEX Crowdloan with Vivek Prasannan, the executive director of Polkadex. Thrilled to have on the show again Mr. Vivek Prasannan, okay, he is the head honcho over at Polkadex. Polkadex is a project we've talked a lot about on this channel, one of the Polkadot projects that we have been following for a long time. And it's exciting times at Polkadex, okay, because they are finally entering the Parachain auctions. So we are going to talk all about that with Vivek. Vivek, thank you so much for joining us again on Cryptowise. So great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Milton and Marvin, for inviting me back here.
All right, so let's jump right in. Okay, so we talk a lot about the Parachain auctions and the crowd loans here on the channel. We've loaned out our Polkadot. We've been loaning out our Kusama now for a long time now, and so it's very exciting because you're a project we've been following for a long time. Tell us why this was the right time for Polkadex to try to secure a Parachain.
Right, very good question, because I think if you go back in time, we've always been informing the community that we are not just an exchange, right? It's not a DEX built on an existing infrastructure. So we had the protocols on one side and the application layer on the other side. So many of the challenges that we set out to solve was actually on the protocol level. So that is why we even chose Substrate as a framework to resolve some of the technical challenges that we encountered when we envisioned what sort of a product we wanted to build. So we were literally neck deep into that for several months together, doing research and development on various things that we could possibly do from our end. And that is actually coming to a close now with most of the um, substrate-based modifications and protocols out there for audit. And now we have the team of engineers can actually now look at the broader infrastructure that needs to be there for a DEX like Polkadex to function. And we need to be tapping into various other ecosystems in order to have seamless liquidity coming in and allowing these interplay of different layer one blockchains, which is the primary goal of actually building an order book DEX on Polkadot. So we are not simply envisioning something that is very specific to Polkadot. We want to make sure that it is the go-to trading platform for the entire Web3 ecosystem. So this is the time that we have to now look at connecting different chains. And obviously, since we are very much a part of the Polkadot ecosystem right from the beginning, part of the initially started off with the Web3 Bootcamp, and then part of the Substrate Builders Program. And our team is working very closely with the team at Parity in resolving many of the issues and challenges that we face. So it's about time now to get connected as a Parachain, because we feel that a decentralized exchange is not only useful for an order book, many of the protocol level technical breakthroughs we have achieved can be leveraged by other products to spin off applications that will allow swap protocols and many other things that we are seeing in the Ethereum ecosystem today. So they can utilize all of that if anybody wants to do it. So yes, so I think it's about time that we look into this connection, and that's why we are actively um, focusing on Parachain from this
Great.
January onwards.
Yeah, it's exciting that you're here. I know it's been a very long journey to get here, and we're seeing these, we're seeing a lot of parachains launch, and we're seeing things go. And Polkadot for us it's the network, that we are the most excited about. And so it is really exciting to see it kind of come to life here. And we expect Polkadex to be a big part of that. So let's just go through the nitty gritty here for people so they understand. So essentially, let me make sure I have this right. So you guys are going for a Kusama parachain right now. Is that right?
No, we are going straight for the Polkadot Parachain.
Oh, okay. You are. Okay. I was under the impression that it was that you were going Kusama first. Okay, great. Well, all right. So we've cleared that up. So you're going straight to Polkadot, which is super exciting. Okay, that's awesome. So just, for people out there who might be listening, I know most of our audience knows this already. So what happens here is you can lend Polkadex your Polkadot. And for for the Polkadot lease, it's about 2 years, approximately 2 years that you would be locking up this Polkadot. And in return, you get rewards from Polkadex to lend them this Polkadot. After the lease expires, after 2 years, approximately, you get your Polkadot back. and you get to keep the rewards that Polkadex has given you. So since you're going straight for Polkadot, it's still pretty early on in the Parachain auctions here for Polkadot. So this is super exciting. I actually thought it was Kusama, so that's great that that we had you on to clarify that. So just tell people, okay, so if I lend you my DOT, what am I getting back? Just walk people through what the rewards are going to be for them.
I think right from the beginning, we had a percentage of tokens allocated for the auctions coming up, because we, right from the beginning, we knew that at some point we have to be part of the Parachain auctions. So after a lot of deliberations and input that we have received from many of our, the economists that we actually work with, we set aside about 10% of the total supply towards Parachain auction. And so that means that we have almost 2 million PDEX that is available to be distributed as rewards for allowing Polkadex as a project to secure a parachain on Polkadot Relay chain. And how it works is that we have close to 1.5 million PDEX as the base reward, which is actually allocated for any input, any dot that you actually um, deposit for the auction, which is close to if you deposit 100 dots, it's coming to close to 18.75 PDEX that is actually being allocated to you as a reward, because these dots are going to come back to you after 2 years. And not only that, there are several other incentive schemes that we have set aside, which is the remaining 500,000, which will be distributed as part of the reward mechanism to select a group of early investors, or sorry, early bird who actually try and participate initially. We also have partnership with several other mediums like Equilibrium, Parallel and Bifrost. And we are going to have several reward mechanisms running through them so that they are able to not just lock up their dots, but they're able to have an ability to unlock the liquidity for them to be able to use those locked dot as a because there are so many of them offering dot futures, right? Which means that you can always redeem those dot futures for actual dot in a later period of time, or immediately when those goes live on exchanges. So, which means that essentially the customer is not really, I mean, the participant, I'm not saying a customer, participant is not really not losing out on anything by locking the dot, they're immediately getting that liquidity back. So that is something I think the ecosystem has done really well. A good job on that. So they have different, dot futures being issued on different platforms. So you're getting the dot futures, you have the PDEX, that's been distributed as a reward. Then you have the referral, which is about 15% of the PDEX that has been distributed is again given as early bird incentive for anybody who actually locks their dot in the first 3 days, 72 hours. Then you also have for anybody who's referring their friends or someone who's actually using that referral code for depositing their dot.
Right. Okay. So I just want to clarify. I just want to make sure this is super clear for people. So we know that you have 10% of the overall PDEX supply is going to be going to reward people who support your Parachain. Sorry, I missed. Did you cap? Is there a hard cap so that people can calculate exactly what they get back per dot, or is that 10% just allocated to however many people participate in the crowd loan?
Yeah, it is to however many people who participate in the crowd loan. That's why the least reward that you can get is actually 18.75 PDEX per 100 dot locked. That is the least.
Okay, great.
Because it
so
is
the
based
least
on
amount
the
is
hard cap of 8 million.
right.
Yeah, based on the hard cap of 8 million, and 8 million. If you divide that by the that's why it's approximately coming to that amount, because 1.5 million is the base reward. So if you divide that by 8 million, it's coming to about 18.75 dot per 100 dot. Anything below the close, for example, if you're able to secure anything less than 8 million, which means that the reward ratio will be much higher. So it just depends on the total amount of dot that finally gets us to win this parachain.
Yeah. No, that's great. And it's good. It's good to know what the baseline is, but that it could be even better. And as Vivek said, so what happens is you lend your dot out you get that back eventually. But as Vivek says, they're partnering with other projects to allow you to even use that locked up dot. Basically, you get like, a token that represents that dot, and you can trade it or sell it or whatever. So even though you're locking up your dot for a couple of years, it's not gone. You can actually use it there, and a lot of projects are finding ways to kind of liquefy that and make it usable even when it's locked up. I guess one of the major questions I have, and I don't know that there's even an answer to this, but it's something that I have been struggling with projects like Polkadex, and you're not the only one. Affinity, which got a parachain recently, was in the same boat, where your token is already out in the world. I can go and purchase PDEX right now if I want. It's out there. So what would you say to someone who is deciding between lending you some dot to get PDEX back as rewards versus just going out to the open market and buying PDEX as an investment?
Right. I think there are two angles to it. One is the investment angle. One is supporting the project sort of angle, right? So regardless of however many PDEX that you buy, essentially, if you want that token to have any value in the future, you have to participate and make the project a success, right? So if you look at simply from a short period, it may not be, like you can't say that it is the, choose between the numbers that you have right now. It may not be so superior as against, like probably going and buying it. But then if you have dots sitting with you, and if you can have them locked up for a certain period, plus have the liquidity to spend it later, you are literally not losing anything, right? You can actually use it for, if you want to liquidate that, you can do that. Plus, you're getting this reward in place, and also the fact that any movement or any progress for the project, like once we get the parachain and the kind of utility that the token is going to bring in, that is actually going to uh, create the project actually, right? It's not, because the problem with the speculative tokens is that you are basically riding on the speculation, uh, which is uh, which is probably up to the imagination of the basically it's a trader's imagination. But since the price discovery is already there for PDEX, the way you should see it is, if you are a strong supporter of Polkadex, I think the way to unlock the value of PDEX, you have to make sure that project succeeds, or the project is actually able to connect to the ecosystems and be able to run those applications which will utilize these tokens. There is no point. Anybody can issue tokens, right? Anybody can mint token and distribute it. But end of the day, it's the utility of the token that will actually unlock the value long term.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That's a great point that people, I think, need to keep in mind, is that, if you've been a supporter of PDEX and if you've been excited about what they can become, then obviously supporting them and getting a parachain is instrumental. That they need to get a parachain to be able to fulfill that potential. And so making sure that we support the projects that we believe in these crowd loans is really, really important. And as we've been saying, it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, really, you should be invested in Polkadot anyway, because it's an amazing platform, it's an amazing network, and it's going to be one of the major networks out there. So it's kind of win-win. You get some Polkadot, you lend it out, you get some rewards back, and you're helping these projects really fulfill their potential. So we have seen, I guess, Moonbeam is kind of the first one that they're kind of that launched as a parachain on Polkadot. We've seen a lot of the Kusama parachains launch. As someone who is invested in this ecosystem, who's going to be joining it, what has been the most surprising aspect of the parachains? Has it gone the way that you expected it to go, or has it gone even better, or have there been challenges that you thought would have been better dealt with so far? What's your overall view on how the parachains are going so far?
Advantage, I would say, for the projects that have been waiting for a long time now, and those that actually got in the first few auctions in the beginning, is that they could, in fact, ride on the speculative value of the project, right? Because there's a lot of hype around the first Parachain auction. So definitely, that is something that host chains have utilized it, and it doesn't mean that the Parachains as an ecosystem and as a project would be uh, be able to ride on that hype for a long time. So now it's about time that it needs to develop as an ecosystem similar to Ethereum, where the entry barriers needs to be reduced. So I think most of the initial parachains that are going live on Polkadot would be trying to address the protocol related challenges. Is that any project that wants to build an app on Polkadot should not be depending on parachains to make it happen. They should be able to create that on existing infrastructural parachains, which are being going live right now, which means like the parachains like Moonbeam and all of these people who are building infrastructure, right? So that is going to be the biggest challenge now. How we are able to attract more projects into the system and unlock the liquidity from other layer one blockchains through Polkadot, as well as through projects like Polkadex, where we are also actively working on, in our own way, bridge these mechanisms and help the ecosystem in general. So it is too early to say how it will be, but we are very optimistic on what is happening, and I think in the next 1 to 2 years, we should be able to build up a very vibrant ecosystem similar to Ethereum, with a lot of interesting apps and many new imaginative applications being rolled out.
With Polkadex, once you get the parachain, okay, so let's imagine that you get a parachain very soon. We hope that you do, and we hope that people listening will help you get there by lending you some dot. So what's the timeline? Okay, so once you secure that parachain, at what point are we going to see Polkadex live, ready to be used? How long do you think that takes?
Well, Polkadex as a product will not be depending on the parachain to go live. It will go live as soon as our order book is rolled out in the mainnet and our interoperability is actually working with Ethereum, which means Ethereum tokens would be the first ones to trade if the audits and the mainnet rollout is going to happen, finished by the Q1. So we might just, we are ready to go live, in our own capacity, which is something in our control. But the Parachain will unlock the connection to the native Polkadot ecosystem, which means that any new project that is coming into Polkadot substrate-based tokens can effectively run or get listed on an exchange like Polkadex, which will unlock a lot of value for them. For example, for them to raise funds for their project, and then get it listed on a traditional order book exchange. All of these are going to help the Polkadot ecosystem. So we're actually trying to add more value to the ecosystem. In fact, not taking out, right? So,
Right.
So from a product perspective, we are not going to wait for the parachain itself to go live. We can go live anytime. Our interoperability, which is natively built with Ethereum, can help bring the Ethereum ERC20 tokens to be listed, which means that we will be straight away listing ETH combinations, Ethereum,
Right.
just like how DYDX is doing right now, and natively as well, be completely decentralized.
And do you have a timeline for when you imagine that can happen?
Yes, I think the audits are going to get over by the end of the month, which means definitely all of these will be in testnet in a matter of weeks now. A couple of weeks it should be in testnet, but from a mainnet actual product rollout would be probably by the end of this quarter. Is a
Nice.
conservative timeline that we can for the Ethereum tokens to start trading on Polkadex.
And from a user experience, so let's say that so with the Ethereum based tokens, I imagine that you'll be able to connect MetaMask or some of these other Ethereum wallets. And then so would the idea be once the substrate tokens are on there that you would connect your Polkadot.js wallet so that you would be using different wallets depending on which kind of token you're trading or using on the platform?
We're going to depend on the Polkadot.js wallet for now on the browser. Everybody agrees that it is that wallet. Obviously, it's not at all user friendly. I believe many other projects are actually trying to fix that. What we are trying to focus on is the mobile app experience with the exchange, which means that we'll be building our own, mobile app that will work as a wallet. Essentially, we are not a wallet, right? We're basically using that to send signatures onto the blockchain because we don't allow user custody of funds. So you cannot essentially call it as a wallet, but it's a mechanism for creating proxy accounts to allow people to connect their native blockchain with Polkadex. So that should be the go-to the browser. We can actually have we are trying to have our own mechanism to authenticate using the Polkadot.js wallet right now. And create a much more seamless experience than what you have right now with the Polkadot.js. Which is kind of you have a pop-up and you have to install something on the browser as a plugin. But we're trying to eliminate all that and make sure that it is mostly browser cache driven. And you don't have to install anything to start using Polkadex and still be able to register your account and start trading. So which will eliminate a lot of friction for traditional users to come in and start using it without even having to install anything on the browser. Because the effort that we're going to put on creating another open source wallet in Polkadot would rather be put on the mobile application and make the integration with Polkadot.js work seamlessly at first, and then focus on probably on another wallet on the browser. Because you have to also imagine the security of these wallets, right? Creating a wallet is different from creating an interface that would allow proxy accounts to interact with the blockchain. Because why I'm saying that is wallet is actually essentially storing your token. I think for security purpose, it would be easier for us, at least in the browser, to start using Polkadot.js wallet, and then leverage one of the other ones, and then you can focus on building another one. It makes it easier for people.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think it's, as someone who loves Polkadot, I mean, I'm okay. I've gotten used to the Polkadot.js wallet, but certainly user experience is going to get way, way better with teams like yours who are really building this out. Okay, so before I let you go, I want to make sure people know where to go to support your Crowdloan. So let's say I got some DOT, okay, because I'll tell you, I personally been using Fearless Wallet, which is a mobile Polkadot wallet from the Sora team to lend out for my crowd loans. That's where I've been going. But is there a place that you would recommend more than others for people to join the PDEX crowd loan if they did want to support you?
I think for maximum rewards, I believe the three crowd loan partners, Equilibrium, Parallel, and Bifrost, are the best in terms of rewards. But you can always use, because we also have partnerships coming up with, we already spoke to Fearless Steel, and we have a few others in line. So all of that will be available as well. And I think it's up to them to decide on the kind of reward structure they have to implement. But for now, the best three options would be Equilibrium, Parallel, and Bifrost for rewards. Actually,
great, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, we want to maximize our rewards for sure. That's what that's what people want to do.
So those three are the top.
Well, Vivek, it's been great talking to you. I mean, we've talked to you a few times on the channel, and it's always a pleasure. We always learn so much, and it's also just great to track these milestones from Polkadex. Because when a lot of these projects started when when Polkadot was kind of became kind of popular when DOT launched and stuff. And Polkadex was definitely a project we saw from very early on and said, wow, that has huge potential, very ambitious project. Are they going to be able to fulfill that potential? And then every time we talk to you, you're hitting one of these major milestones. We know that the mainnet has been launched. People have been able to stake their PDEX here on Substrate for a few months already. And now, so it's so exciting to see now that you're not even going for a Kusama parachain. You're like, nope, we're going straight to Polkadot. Which is super exciting to see that you are now here, going to get a parachain. Hopefully everyone listening will support that so that you can get it really quick, because what you are bringing to Polkadot is very needed. It is going to add a lot to the ecosystem. So I definitely wish you well and continued success. And we're definitely going to be following along on Cryptowise. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you so much, Milton and Marvin. We'll see you again.
Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Vivek Prasannan, the executive director of Polkadex. This is a project that I am going to be supporting in the crowd loan for the Parachain. I'm supporting a ton of different projects, but this is one I am excited about. And the best way to get the information that you need if you want to support them is polkadex.trade, and then come up here onto crowd loans. This is the page here. It tells you everything you need to know about the crowd loans, how to participate, what it means to participate. This is actually one of the better pages I've seen for the crowd loans. You can anticipate how much you would get in rewards. This is if you don't get any of the extra ones. If you become an early bird supporter for 72 hours, then it goes up. From day 3 to 9, it goes a little bit down. And then if you are later, then it goes down again. And as Vivek mentioned in the interview, if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck here, they've partnered with 3 very cool projects: Parallel Finance, Bifrost, and Equilibrium. So you can choose any of these 3 also to contribute to the PDEX Crowdloan, and you get extra perks through their partnerships. Anyway, I will have this link in the description of the video, but super excited that Polkadex is the latest project going for a parachain. Guys, this is going to be a huge part of my crypto strategy this year. It was last year as well in the Kusama parachains, but I'm going big on this. I've been accumulating DOT for a long time. My strategy is I'm keeping half to stake because I want to keep earning more DOT. And then the other half I am allocating to a bunch of different crowd loans. That way, 2 years from now, I'll have a bunch of DOT come in that I won't have sold because I think it's going to be way higher than it is now then. And I'll get to get all the tokens from the Polkadot ecosystem, or at least a good bunch of them. And definitely Polkadex, PDEX is going to be on that list for me. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. It's great to be back. If you are not a subscriber, please take a second, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, I'm Milton saying over and out.